Are you ready to do your will? So today I'm here to tell you about those things that you shouldn't forget about, that will either validate or invalidate your will. Welcome to Street Law with your host, Aine Mbabazi. First and foremost, you need to be in the right state of mind. Right state of mind means that you are going to do this will under free will. You're not under any duress. You are sober. You are not suffering from any mental illness that is going to have a bearing on your thinking. So once you know that you are stable enough, mentally stable enough to do your will, list down your properties. Only the properties that you own as an individual. We have had scenarios where people mix up properties. For example, you inherited some land from your father or from your parents, but that distribution has never been carried out between you and your siblings. And it comes to a time when you're going to make your own will and you want to bequeath what you inherited from your parents, yet it's not yet very specific. So there's likely to be an error in you either giving more than you got or probably less than you got. So it's important that you are sure of what you own and in what measure you own it. Then for marrieds, we normally see spouses, say a man give away fully what he jointly owned with the wife. That is an error that is not supposed to happen. So it's important that you list down the properties that you own and in what measure you own. If you have shares in a company, for example, do not bequeath the entire company. You can only give those shares, those 9, 10 shares that you have in that company. So once you are done listing down the properties that you own, also in those properties, if you are married or you have children or a child, first put aside your principal residential holding. By principal residential holding, I mean that house where you ordinarily live with your spouse or with your children. So if you have any, either a spouse or a child, and they're staying in that residence, you're not supposed to give it away in the will. So just put it aside and concentrate on distributing the rest of the estate. The amendment to the Succession Act tried to do away with scenarios where men or women gave away their residential holdings in wills. They would probably bequeath them to their favorite son and etc. Yet this man or this woman is survived by their spouse by the time they die. That became so dangerous. We saw many women, for example, homeless when their husbands die, just because the husband gave away the matrimonial property or the house where she was staying, they were staying, to somebody else. So when you are going to do your will, please do not bequeath to anybody the residential holding. The third thing is, if you are a married person, married man or woman, or you have children, or both, make sure that you make a provision for their maintenance in your will. Now that is mandatory as per the recent amendment, because I think government was trying to do away with scenarios where men or women distributed their entire estates and left children without school fees, left spouses hanging without any maintenance or sustenance. So it is now mandatory that you make a provision for their basic needs of life. If it is a spouse, it should be until they either pass on or remarry. If it's a child, it should be until the age of 25 if they are not yet married by then. So that is very, very important. If you do not do it, your will is likely to be challenged. So when you're done with providing for the maintenance of your spouse or children, if any, you go to the distribution of how you want your estate to go. In very plain language, be as plain as possible. The intention is that the people who are going to be reading these things after you are gone, they should be able to understand from what place you were writing and what you meant, because we don't have a lot of room to make errors or to contemplate what you meant and what you didn't mean. So distribute your property plainly and clearly as possible. It's also important that I clear this air. Some people think that all children must be provided for in a will. By children here now, I mean any person above the age of 25. Someone who is writing their will has the liberty to give some children and not give other children, even when all of them are above 25 years. I have personally come through a situation where this woman was never provided for by the father in the will. Because they had had disagreements during when she was growing up, she had decided to go to Europe, and according to the will, the father wrote that you decided to go to Europe and do prostitution, and this displeased me so much, and because of that, I cannot make any provision for you in my own will. And this lady wanted to challenge that will because she hadn't been provided for. Now, that is not allowed. Anybody making a will has the liberty to choose who to give what to give. Somebody can actually bequeath their entire estate to a church, to charity, to anybody they wish, as long as they observe these other things. As long as if they have a spouse, they have maintained them. If they have children of school-going age or below 25 and unmarried, they have maintained them. So when you're done making your will, you're going to sign it on every page. You put your name, signature, and address on every single page. By every page, I mean it literally. And then you are going to get at least 2 witnesses who are going to witness this will. Both of them do not need to be present at the same time. One can come today, another comes tomorrow, or this month, another comes next month. But they need to also sign in your presence on every page by appending their signature, writing their name, and their address. The effect of not doing this is that any page that you haven't signed is likely to be challenged, because at that point we are not sure if the content of that page is exactly what you intended or if it was sneaked into the will. So it is very important, it is mandatory that you sign the will on every page, and so should your witnesses. Basically, that is it for today. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, let me know what you think if this video has been helpful. Until next time, bye.